subscriber count. Come on.
This week on North Country Restorations.
We're putting Neil's chassis together. Finally back on the Bronco. I know you guys have been asking about it, so here it is. Enjoy the video.
Enjoy.
Cleaning tools.
You better.
My boss only made me work 13 hours today, but I feel like I got to clean up before I go home. It's a little bit of sensory overload. Twin
A lot
turbo.
to take in. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just doing whatever Austin tells me to. So have become a North Country Restorations employee, number 2.
More like slave labor. Employees get paid.
But no, right now we're putting in the transmission cross member and then bolting on the drop brackets for the radius arm. And then we'll put the radius arm brackets on, and then that'll lower everything down to correct the geometry of the suspension, right?
Yep. And then once this is all in place, we could get the radius arms on the front axle and roll that under and get all the suspension put on.
We're really trying to get the axles mounted up to the frame so we can lift the thing up, and then we'll work on that. We'll take the wheels off of the axles and work on the new brakes. I'm excited about the brakes for some reason, but
It's always nice having all new brakes.
Yeah, it's like brakes were the last thing you addressed when you were working on. When I was a teenager, it's like, well, as long as it runs,
kind of work.
Yeah.
One stops.
You can always head to the ditch if you got to get low.
Yeah.
But to me now, brakes are really important.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, if you got the horsepower, you need the stopping power.
All right, we're just putting in bolts, and I like all these new fasteners too. Look at all these shiny gold fasteners.
It's so pretty.
Very pretty.
That's what it should look like, and the bushing sits against that.
Uh-huh.
And that's what you did to it.
A little blown out a little bit.
A little blown out. Yeah, it's supposed to.
What do you
stop on
think
that
caused
shoulder.
that? Was that just from daily use or
Yeah,
long
probably
miles?
just daily driving. You know, light cruises down to the ice cream shop.
Maybe light jumping?
Nah, I don't think so.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
All right, Neil, what did we just get done doing?
Well, we installed the drop pitman arm and then the track bar, tie rod, and this
Drag link.
drag link.
And we got the new differential cover on.
Oh yeah.
We did the brakes, all new spindles, bearings, seals. We didn't put the calipers on yet because we're gonna paint them.
New rotors.
New rotors.
We're gonna have to put in new lockouts. I discovered that when I removed this lockout here, it was damaged, and we were gonna reuse them, but that just kind of sealed the fate. So we gotta get new lockouts ordered.
Yep, which doesn't prevent us from making it a roller at least, so we still accomplished what we wanted to today.
Yep.
And I don't know, did we show you guys the front end since we got the suspension in? The new Wild Horses 4-inch lift kit springs, the Bilstein shocks, and same with the rear. These are progressive rate leaf springs. They're their Flex Master kit with the matching Bilstein 5100s in the back. So this thing's gonna ride like a new truck.
And these Bilsteins, you know, I mentioned it on my video on my channel, but Wild Horses hooked us up with all this stuff, so.
Big time. Yeah, this
They
is like
helped.
the upgraded version of their lift kit.
Yeah, so not only, they're not just helping me, they're helping you help me too. Because
We're getting to use the good stuff that we wanted to use. So that was awesome of them to
yeah,
pitch in.
I'm really thankful for that. They really stepped up, but it's looking great. I mean, the shocks all match what the color scheme's gonna be. So that's a clue. It's not a reveal, it's just a clue.
And then what are we gonna do next?
We gotta do that rear disc brake conversion.
Yeah.
So it's got drum brakes on the back, obviously from factory, and we got a kit to switch it all over to discs, which I'm excited about. I hate drum brakes. I've always fought them my entire life. Can't ever get the drums off over the top of the pads.
Yeah,
or the
serviceability
shoes.
is much easier.
Yep. They look cooler.
They look cooler. That's the most important part, right?
Well, that's what I'm going for. It's all about looks.
Yeah. Who cares if it works? And then
This looks way better than I would have ever completed it at home, I'll tell you that. Because Austin's got a little bit finer attention to detail than what I have. Mine's a little more about getting it done. His is more a little about making it look good when it's done.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your husband is and Neil?
Okay. It's 10:10 p.m. We started the day at 9:30 p.m. So we got.
PM?
I did say I know. So. But anyway, I appreciate it so much so far.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Thanks
fun working with you.
Oh yeah, it's been a blast.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Elizabeth kept us well fed.
Yeah.
And she's over here just standing by,
Smiling.
smiling and making sure we do it right. But I want to thank you so much for clicking on this video. It means a lot to me that you're here and following along. There's a lot more content to come. They're doing videos of this build on their channel as well, North Country Restoration. So make sure you go check it out for the stuff that's happened while I'm not here. And then, well, we'll be back for more while I am here. So if I'm lucky, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot. See you
Thanks for
next
watching.
time. Thanks for watching. No, wait a minute. I gotta put this at the end.
More?
No, you standing over here filming.
Right.
There you go. Okay.
All right, getting back on Neil's chassis here. He came up and gave me a hand getting all the suspension put in. Really came out nice. The whole front end is done. We started on the rear disc brake conversion, and we unfortunately realized the axle seals were shot. But we didn't have the parts. He had to head back to Indiana, so I'm stuck doing this without his help. Thanks, Neil. So I'm gonna show you guys what's involved in doing just that. It's not too big of a deal. You kind of have to destroy the old bearing getting it apart, but they're junk. We're replacing them anyways. So here's your seal. You can see this one's all torn. And that's what keeps the gear oil from exiting the rear end housing. These bearings ride in the gear oil from the rear end. So that seal is your last line of defense. And again, we kind of knew this was the case because he had a little bit of a leak out of the back of this thing. So there's your tapered bearing. These new ones from Strange come pre-greased in the race already. And this is your retainer that presses on the backside just to kind of hold it in place. And here's your new seal. So you could see these have to come off and they're pressed on in order to change this seal. So I'm going to show you how that's done. It's not too hard. These are the tools we're going to be using. Pretty simple. I got two different size cutoff wheels and an air chisel with kind of a curved chisel bit on it. And basically all we do is score this retainer, cut it close to the axle to kind of relieve the pressure off of it, cut the bearing cage off, chisel that out of the way, and then these could be chiseled off. I use the smaller cutoff wheel down inside the bearing here to cut it close to the axle because we don't want to nick the flange. So let's show you how that's done. All right, there you have it. We're gonna clean this up a little. I'm gonna clean that up a little too. But that's it. Just put it back together in the same order it came out. So your retainer plate, your seal, bearing and race, and then that shoulder retainer. Clean it up. All right, that's all cleaned up. Just put a little grease on there. And just put our pieces back on. So, little retainer plate. We could put these together. So they're gonna go like this. And we just bring that over to the press, press it down. You have it. That could all slide back into there. Show you, here is the old race that is inside the axle tube still. So we're gonna pull that out of there. That's out, and now we just need to do the same thing to this axle that we just did to the other side. So you can see I got my bracket set in place for the rear disc brake conversion. That now is part of your bearing retainer, so that takes up the thickness that the stock backing plate would have. So when this all tightens down, it's gonna, see, you could see the seal right there. It'll all squish down and hold that in place. Just need to do the same thing to this axle that we just did to the other side. There it is. So there's the old seal. Bearing assembly. See, we didn't even have to cut all the way through that. It actually cracked. That's how much pressure is on that thing. And then there's your retainer plate. We'll just clean those up a little. Press the new stuff together. You do not want to forget to put this on first. That would suck. So how this works, this is your bearing retainer. Get your axle in. That slides over your studs. And then everything clamps down. There you have it. Axles are back in place. We got our brackets for the disc brake conversion. Those act as your bearing retainer along with the factory plates. So that all clamps down nice. See, this side is on as well. I just got to put the nuts on there and tighten them down. And then we could put all bracketry on for the calipers and everything. Pretty cool. Okay, let's get these rear disc brakes put on. I got the brackets mounted already behind the retaining plates. Both axles are in. Now we just got to put all the bracketry on for the calipers and go from there. Start recording.
I brought you your poison.
My daily dose of poison. Odorless. Tasteless.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, got the caliper brackets on. Now, you gotta get the caliper centered on the rotor. So you gotta stack up some washers. I'm probably gonna, once I get it figured out, I'll measure this and we'll cut down a stainless steel spacer instead of just having a stack of washers in there. Calipers all mounted up. Just got to install the brake hose, get a copper washer on each side of that, and banjo bolt goes through there. That'll get mounted there. Brakes are all put back together. I just temporarily zip tied the brake hoses in place. I ordered a couple brackets that I could weld to the axle housing and then put that on with like a factory style retainer clip that slides over it. I got the braided hose that comes up to the frame and that mounts to a bracket here. So we're gonna slap that on right now. And then I could work on making a brake line up to the front pretty soon. So let's get this installed. That goes like that, then that goes like that, and this little retainer clip just slides over and holds that in place. Then you run your hard line off of there. Next on the Bronco, we have our new fuel tank. This is a 33-gallon tank from LMC Truck. Stock, these came with like, I think it was anywhere from a 19 to a 22. So that big block's gonna be thirsty. So we got the 33. That thing is going fuel injected. So I actually need to modify this tank. We're gonna mount the pump inside the tank. It makes the pump last longer and they're quieter being down submerged in the fuel. So what I have to do is cut the top of this tank out and weld in a piece that's flat. You could see all these ribs in it. Obviously, wouldn't it be good to mount a fuel pump in there? So we're gonna modify that, and we're gonna do it using this kit from Tanks Inc. they make these fuel pump kits that give you everything you need. There's your hat that will mount in the tank, and they give you the ring that will mount on the bottom side of the tank, along with the gasket that sandwiches all this together. So I could actually use this as a template for what I need to fabricate here. All right, so we got our little box bent up. This ended up being 8 inches wide by 10 inches long, and I did a 3/4 inch tall side on it. So what we're gonna do is decide where we want that to go in here. We could mark this out and then cut the top of the tank. This will sit down flush, so the fuel pump and everything will sit down below the highest point of the tank. That way when our lines come out, it doesn't have anything like to interfere with. So I'm gonna weld up the corners on this, and then we'll mark the top of this and get it cut out. Now that our box is all welded up, we're just gonna determine where we want it to sit here. We'll go about 1 inch away from that rib, and then cut the top of this tank open. Could do the clickbait.
Good.
I'm an idiot! You're an idiot!
The last one was really good. It had 2 different perspectives.
What did we just do to Neil's new fuel tank?
Cut it up. There ain't no gas in it.
Ain't got no gas in
There
it.
ain't got no gas.
Big old hole. Now we got to get this in there and weld it in place. Trim that a little bit more and weld her up. You could see my plate that I made. I drilled the holes in for the pattern of the fuel hat. I just got to cut this hole out, and I'll show you how that all goes together. This is our fuel hat. This is our ring that mounts inside the tank from underneath. So what I'm actually gonna do, this part's gonna be facing forward. So we're gonna set that in there. Put that ring up from underneath. And I'm gonna hold it in place with a few of the provided bolts. And then we're gonna snug this down, and I'm actually gonna weld that ring on the back side because that'll stay permanently mounted inside the tank. So that's what it'll look like from inside the tank. So this ring will stay on here. So I'm just gonna tack weld that in a few spots so it can't go anywhere. So then when we drop our fuel hat assembly in with the gasket and everything, we could just bolt it right down. We don't have to worry about trying to hold this ring in place. That's held in place with my little magnets. And I'm gonna tack the corners in with the MIG welder, and then I'm probably gonna TIG weld this all together. There you have it. It's all welded in, ground it down a little. Just got to throw some paint on here. And then once that dries, I could put the tank in the truck, measure for our depth for the fuel pickup, and get all that set and figured out. Fuel tank is ready to go in. Just gonna raise up the truck a little, roll that under there. You can just lower it down onto where it goes. Should sit something like that. Just gotta bolt these straps on. And then there's upper straps that go on there as well. Easy as that. Tank's installed, upper straps are on, lower straps are on. Now we could go ahead and assemble the fuel pump and get that installed. First thing we have to do is take a quick measurement here and see how deep is the tank where the pump is going to sit. About 14.5 inches. So we'll go about 13 3/4. We want the pump to sit off the bottom of the tank a little. We don't want it touching. There's a little screen that sits there and reaches to the bottom. Yeah, probably right to there. But what I want to do first is put the sending unit in the tank. This is for the fuel gauge. That's your float. That moves up with the fuel. If you're running carburetor, that tube would pick up your fuel. We don't need that anymore, so I'll just cap that off. But I want to put this in the tank and then see how much clearance we have for that. So that sits in there like that. So you can see how that works. That float just sits in there, floats up with the fuel. Fuel pump going in. I got my gasket in there with my aviation sealant on it. That's the best stuff for gasoline applications. So we just got to line this up. I made a little mark here so I knew the orientation of how I wanted that to face. And then my supply and my return line will go into here, and then this will be for a vent. How good does that fuel tank look in there? So while the body's off, I'm gonna make a couple wire connections here. We have our power and ground for our fuel pump, and then we have our sending unit for the fuel gauge. This will go to the gauge. This will get ground. And then I'm going to mount our fuel pressure regulator slash filter on the frame rail and make a couple fuel lines that go from here to there. And then all we have to do is run it to the motor once that's in. The fuel sending unit wires are on. That came with its own little connector. I crimped the fuel pickup tube and capped it off, put a little hose clamp on it. That won't be getting used anymore because now our fuel supply is coming from over here. So I just lengthened the harness a little for the sending unit and for the pump. I'll cover this in some braided tubing, and we'll put a little connector end on that. So when I wire up the truck, all we have to do is plug it in on the frame rail. So I like these nice little weatherproof connectors, kind of like OEM style. So you have your male and your female, and we'll just wire one of them up on there. I'll label it, I'll take a picture so I remember which one's the power for the fuel pump and which one's the fuel sending unit for the gauge. Making up a fuel line here, and this is going to go from the pressure regulator slash filter. So you have two lines out of the tank. You got your feed and your return. They'll come down into here. This will be your feed. That'll continue on to the engine, and this will return back to the tank. So you only need to run one line from here all the way up to the engine, and that regulates it down to the correct PSI that we need to. So I just need to make two lines up to here. So let me show you what it takes to make one of these. Pretty easy. I got one end on already. These fittings just come apart. That goes down inside the hose. And this part threads over the top. That's actually a reverse thread. So you put that on over your sleeve. And just spin it backwards. It has a little shoulder in there and it bottoms itself out. So you can see the hose inside there sits on that shoulder. Then that goes in there. And when that tightens down, it kind of wedges against the hose and then it can't come apart. Pretty simple, but they work really well. There you have it. The fuel system is as far as I could take it right now. I'm waiting on a fitting for right there to hook up the return line to the tank. But I got the fuel lines routed and mounted our fuel pressure regulator slash filter. These are off of a Corvette. They're really nice because you have your fuel coming in, that gets regulated down to your 58 PSI, goes out. But the return line is right here, so you don't have to run a return line all the way up to the engine. So that's all mounted. I got our feed line mounted from there, and that runs down the frame rail. And I have another filter. This is a changeable filter, and then we'll pick up from here and run to the engine. But I got my little brackets mounted that hold the fuel line in place. These are really cool. My father machines these for me. He makes a couple different sizes, but these ones are neat because it has two separate slots, one for your brake line and one for your fuel line. So these mount to the frame, and then I could go back when I run my brake lines and clamp them right in place. And then that'll run up and around and hook up to our braided hose that runs down to the rear end. So that's it for the fuel system for now. This thing is really coming together nice. Next step is we're gonna put it on some dollies and get it off the lift because there's not much more I could do right now on it. So I'm gonna move it over here, and I think I'm gonna bring my truck over and pull my cab off and fit my transmission and transfer case. Well, we've come a long way in a short amount of time. It was really nice having Neil's help to get the chassis to the point of where it is. After he left, you saw I got the axle seals done and the wheel bearings, put the fuel tank in, started running some fuel lines, but we're kind of at a standstill.
We're waiting on some parts.
So until the parts show up, I have a couple little things I could do to the Bronco. Paint the front calipers, like little stuff like that. But the next big job is gonna be rebuilding the transmission. So I'm gonna get that prepped and ready. We're waiting on those parts as well. So thank you guys so much for watching.
And we'll see you next time. You did it. Do you even know what you're doing? So get that camera out of my face. We'll see you next time.
Go get the hound.
I think he's waiting.
Yeah. Come on.
Come on. You're up. Come on, Monto. You're up. Come on. Sleepy? Oh. Ready?
The black, they always look dirty, but they wipe up cleaner than everything else.
I mean, they look cleaner than the jeans.
It kind of blends it in, you know?
Sure I just didn't work harder than you?
Nah, not possible.
It's like having a friend.
Yeah.
So look at these two budding new YouTubers. They're like my proteges. And look at their subscriber count. Come on. We're waiting for that one more person to sub. And hopefully Elizabeth catches it, flipping to 10,000. 10,000 in about what, 4 weeks?
That's
5
pretty
weeks?
wild, yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Tool giveaway, and he said he was saying.
Oh, there it is.
All right.
Thank you, whoever that was.
Nice job.
I bet someone will comment I was the
Yeah.
10,000.
Yeah.
Yay.
10K. Now here you go.